there's the light. Hello, my friends. It is Monday, March 7th, which blows my mind because I am still very pregnant. We are almost 39 weeks, and yeah, it blows my mind. So, because it's Monday, my kids are home every Monday. Our school district doesn't have school, and so I keep this day off of work, essentially. I had a call with Coach Danny Krishka this morning, but outside of that, I don't do check-ins or anything on Mondays, so that it can kind of be a day where, since the kids are home and my husband works from home and he does have to work, I can kind of help keep them quiet, work around the house, things like that while he's in his office. And then obviously they're at school Tuesday through Friday, at least the bigs are. So I have just been working on kind of getting the house tidy because this baby has to come at some point, right? And you know, when she decides to eventually make her debut, we are intending on having a home birth with our midwife. So we'll have the midwives here, we'll have family here, things like that. So I want the house clean, so I'm not thinking about it. Then there's also just like general nesting happening. And then, you know, you end up with like people at your house after you have a baby and stuff. So, I made my bed this morning, switched the sheets. I like to change the sheets over on everyone's beds every Monday. So I gotta do the kids' beds. Sometimes I do their beds on Fridays because then I have two amazing women who come over and help me and clean my house on Fridays. So if I put clean sheets on the kids' beds, they'll change the sheets for me, which I realize makes me super spoiled. So I need to get all of that done, but beyond that, just like normal household stuff today. And I posted a reel on my Instagram. I'll show a screenshot here of the one I'm talking about. It's about my client Kristen, who is currently in a reverse diet getting ready for her prep, and she just got me thinking because she is the perfect example of somebody who has not let the fact that she's a working mom who has a very busy schedule, her husband has a very busy schedule, and she's got big goals, and like it doesn't hold her back. But I talk to a lot of people who do let that stuff hold them back, and it kills me because we can prioritize our own goals, and people will use their kids kind of as an excuse for stuff, and I think it can be really frustrating sometimes because like you're a human too and you deserve to be prioritized too. So I'm gonna go get my kids to quiet down because they're being crazy and their dad's in a meeting, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so not that long ago, I was supposed to do a podcast with some of the other moms on the team. And theirs should be getting posted soon. I had wound up not doing the podcast that day because I was having contractions and genuinely thought that something was going to happen. And then it wound up just being prodromal labor, which if any of you have experienced that, you know how much fun it is. It basically means going through like the sensations of early labor and contractions and stuff, but not having it pop off into anything substantial because I'm still pregnant, obviously. So the podcast was supposed to be on, or it is, on prioritizing your goals. I'm pretty sure that's what they wound up naming it. Prioritizing your goals as a mom. And it's something that I think is really important. And when people tell me that, like, oh, well, you know, because of my kids, like this, and I can't get this and that done. What I typically end up finding is that it's not their kids holding them back from getting their stuff done, because they still find plenty of time to, you know, go roam the aisles of Target or to sit and scroll social media on their phones or something like that. And they're using their children as an excuse to not get things done, because it's a viable thing to say, because kids keep you busy, okay? I completely understand that. I am currently a mother to 3, about to have another one show up whenever she feels like it. And my kids are very active in their own hobbies, okay? So our daughter does all-star cheer, where she has practice 3 days a week. And I'm a crazy helicopter mom, so I sit at practice with her for a vast majority of those. And then that means that she has competitions, which we've had to travel as far as Colorado Springs for this year. You know, there's a lot going on with her cheer schedule. And then our son actually also joined the boys tumbling class at the All-Star Gym. And then he's also on the half-year team at the All-Star Gym. So he has practice 2 days a week at cheer. And then he also has piano lessons. And on top of that, we have the fact that they're in school. And you know, that we try to get them outside and do different things. So like on average, I'm sitting at that gym, you know, at least 8 hours a week probably, or like driving back and forth, like all of that kind of stuff. And so, you know, I could easily be like, oh, well, I don't have time to do things because I have to do all this stuff for my kids. But, and granted, I'll say I'm lucky because my husband also values an active life where we pay attention to our nutrition. But all it's meant is that we have to incorporate their schedules into our routines of planning, okay? So like, we know, this is my number one thing when I'll talk to people and they'll be like, oh, well, this weekend was a shit show because, you know, I couldn't stay on track because my daughter had practice, and so I didn't make dinner on any of the practice nights this week. We had to go out to eat, and then we were traveling for a competition, and so this and that. And the thing that kills me is that when it comes to that kind of stuff, 9 times out of 10, it's pre-scheduled. You knew when all of those events were happening, and so you can plan ahead for it. Even if it's as simple as like, we used to know when Riker was doing jujitsu that on the nights he had jujitsu and Cora had practice, we weren't going to have time to make dinner because we were running from one kid's thing to another kid's thing. And so those would be the days that we would go out to eat. And so we would typically get something like either Chick-fil-A or Chipotle or McDonald's, because those 3 places are between school pickup and our house, and they're the ones we enjoy the most. Now, at any of those options, you can look up their menu ahead of time and plan out for the things that you enjoy eating from there and that fit your macros. I mean, really, any of them can be totally doable. Like, I'm a sucker for a double cheeseburger from McDonald's. It's like 440 calories, and I think it's totally worth it. But if we popped over to Chick-fil-A, you could go super simple, grilled chicken and a side salad or some fruit or something like that. I like to, I always want the French fries, and so I'll typically get a grilled chicken sandwich so that I can have French fries and Chick-fil-A sauce, and I'll forego the fats that would have come from if I had gotten a normal sandwich. It just takes like 2 minutes of scrolling my FitnessPal, and I'll talk to people where for some reason they'll get into this, like they'll say they want to try out flexible dieting and things like that, and there's a lot of things that appeal to them, but for some reason they just, something about opening my FitnessPal can be really frustrating for some people and having to spend that time on themselves. But I'll see these same people spending plenty of time you know, scrolling Pinterest or Amazon for like random things that they're never going to purchase, that they just like to look at and things like that. And it can be so simple to incorporate these aspects of flexible dieting into your lifestyle, where like you don't have to be tied to MyFitnessPal forever. You don't have to study every single menu that you've ever seen for your entire life. Like, you just, if you spend a little bit of time doing it early on, it can help you establish a base in your mind where like you can kind of guesstimate like, oh, okay, well, I know that if I go to Chick-fil-A, I can get the 12 grilled nuggets and it's going to provide me, it's something insane, like 50 grams of protein. And that'll help knock out a good portion of my day. I can get the fries. That's going to run me like X amount of carbs. And you can kind of do it that way, right? Like, not everything has to be perfect, but at least you're making some intelligent decisions there. But generally, I'll find that people will be like, oh, well, it was crazy. I couldn't log anything. And so after practice, we all went out to Chili's and I ordered, you know, a Big Mouth burger and 2 margaritas. And then we all shared dessert. And like, things go crazy. And it just takes that tiny bit of effort and planning to keep your goals ahead. Same thing where like, if you're going to take the time to pack your kids a healthy lunch and stuff like that, you can do the same for yourself. When you're grocery shopping, you can make a point of purchasing some protein bars or some pre-packaged little snacks. I really like to get things like the like baby carrots and the pre-cut like celery stalks, or even the pre-sliced apples sometimes, so that those are easy things for me to take to the kids' practices and then sit and nibble on while I'm there. That's one of my favorite tricks, is if I know I'm going to be stuck at a practice where I can't leave or something like that, that is when I will pack myself a protein shake and a decent amount of fruits and vegetables to sit and snack on, because I'm gonna wanna nibble. I'm not going to go anywhere. And then it's an opportunity to just knock out a lot of my produce, because I recommend that my clients try to get in about 3 to 5 servings of produce per day. And so that's a great way to just say, you know what, I'm making myself do it. And maybe the first time you're excited about it, and then the second time you're like, I don't want to take fruits and vegetables. I want to eat chips like all the other people sitting in the lobby. But it becomes a habit, and then you realize you feel good and you do it. And then sometimes you have to remember, just like we tell our kids, we don't do everything because it's exactly what we want to do in life. Sometimes we have to do things strictly just because it's the thing we have to do. And sometimes we have to mom up and make the decision that's smartest for our bodies and for our goals, instead of always, you know, scratching that itch. And I think when we get into this, like, woe is me, I have to do all of these things attitudes, which is what I hear a lot, like, of course you're going to fail with whatever it is you're trying to pursue if you're coming at it with an attitude of like, oh, it sucks so much that I have to do this. Then yeah, you're not going to be successful because you don't have the right motivation for getting it done. And I feel like that's where we just have to remember that, like, it's the whole pouring from an empty cup thing, right? Like, you feel, it's like, have you seen that Instagram reel where like people were using the audio where it was like, why do I do this? Because when I do this, it makes me feel good. When I feel good, I'm nicer. When I'm nicer, I do these things, like blah, 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 and it like goes on. And I feel like prioritizing yourself and your goals and saying, I'm gonna take this couple of minutes per day to work on something that's important for me and it's gonna benefit me, really does end up benefiting the entire household, because moms help set the tone for the entire house. Whether or not we want to accept that, we do. And so it's important that we take care of ourselves and we don't just put it off and be like, oh, hashtag mom life, I'm a mess who can't accomplish anything and it's not my fault because I have kids. Like, are there days where it's going to be too hard and things have to go to the side? Yes. Is that every day? No. If it is, we need to reevaluate our planning and stuff like that, right? I'm going to go put away some of this laundry. Okay, So some of my tips for helping moms. My dog is making me crazy. Scout, come, down, down. See, there's always something to distract us, right? So stay. Early on, if I'm working with a mom who is new to the flexible dieting lifestyle, or she's new to tracking and a routine and like all of this kind of stuff, the first things I have her do is simply evaluate where life currently is and what the low-hanging fruit is. So it's not, let's take your whole world and set it on fire and start over again. Because when we start with approaches like that, they're so hard to stick to because everything is brand new and hard. And so the first thing I have them do, whether it's with an app or a pen and paper, is write down their meals completely normal as they are. So without making any changes, spend a week tracking what you're currently doing. And then take an inventory of that list. Go through your meals and be like, am I proud of the choices that I'm making? And that doesn't mean everything has to be perfect, but if you're looking at it and you're like, oh God, I haven't eaten anything green in like 2 weeks, then there's an easy start. Start incorporating some green. If you start looking at it and you're like, ugh, I have 7 cups of coffee and I didn't drink any water until 4 p.m. and I had a headache and was snappy all day long. Maybe it's time we start carrying around our water bottle with us. And you don't have to start drinking a gallon. Maybe just getting to 32 ounces is an improvement. And I'll tell you, I've talked to a lot of people where that's the case. So sitting down and just taking stock of what's going on. And then I was actually just talking to my own mom about this recently, where she is a fantastic budgeter, okay? When it comes to managing money, she's all over it. She knows exactly where every penny goes. And I was talking to her about how tracking is basically the same thing, where if you have this goal that you want to work towards, where you want to reshape your body in some way, or she really wants to work on different aspects of her health because she has an autoimmune disorder, and so she's trying to tackle it with other ways to to complement her medication and everything. What goes untracked can go unmanaged, okay? So the more that we know what's going on, the more we can manage it. But we have to gather that information to figure out what changes need to be made. So start with the low-hanging fruit, okay? And then we can build up from there. It's that whole snowball philosophy of start with one small habit, 1% better each day, let it grow into something, and the next thing you know, you've made exponential life changes and you're on your way. Okay, so I'm sure that got super rambly and random and everything, but that's typically what happens with podcasts too. But there's just so many, I feel like there's so many missed opportunities for a lot of women to do fantastic things for themselves because they try to say like, I can't do that. I'd never have enough time because I'm a mom. And it's like, I'm not saying, you know, we all have the same 24 hours, you can figure it out or whatever, because that's not the case. My 24 hours don't look the same from one day to the next. But there are certain non-negotiables, like making my bed, that I know makes me feel better and more productive for the entire day. And you can start looking at life and just finding those tiny little things and saying, where can I incorporate these into my life and make them easier? I've talked before about the protein shake idea, right? Where I grab one when I'm going to and from school pickup. That makes my life easier. I carry this damn water bottle everywhere I go. Does it always mean I hit my water goal? No. But do I get pretty damn close? Yeah, because it's just always right there. And quite frankly, it's lighter if I drink it and it's easier to carry. So I hope that was helpful. If you guys have any other things that you're like curious about or that you want to chat about, let me know in the comments and I'll talk to you soon. Everybody send me labory thoughts. Help me get this baby out.